Shadows from the sky. The city of Metropolis trembled under a strange, eerie light that shimmered across the skyline. The sun, still high, seemed powerless against the unnatural glow that painted the clouds in sickly shades of green and purple. Shadows moved unnaturally along the streets, stretching and twisting as if alive, and the citizens stopped in their tracks, instinctively sensing that something was horribly wrong. Sirens wailed in the distance, echoing through the urban canyon as police and emergency vehicles scrambled to respond to what no one yet understood. High above, Superman raced through the sky, breaking the sound barrier as he scanned the streets. His sharp eyes caught the first signs of the source, an energy in the clouds unlike anything he had ever seen, flickering and pulsing with alien intensity. It was chaotic, unpredictable, almost alive, and he could feel it tugging at his mind, whispering threats he couldn't fully comprehend. Down below, the citizens of Metropolis panicked. Families clutched each other, staring at the sky with wide eyes, while cars skidded to a halt in the middle of avenues. People screamed as shadows darted across rooftops and alleyways, moving faster than human reflexes could follow. Something was coming, something alive, and terrifying. Then it struck. From a shadowed alley, a creature leapt into the open, landing with unnatural grace and speed. It was roughly human-sized, yet horribly distorted. Its limbs were elongated, fingers ending in sharp, claw-like appendages. Its face was a grotesque parody of humanity, eyes glowing red, teeth jagged and glinting in the strange light. The monster attacked a nearby group of civilians, slashing and tearing with horrifying precision. Panic surged, and Superman dove toward the scene with blinding speed. The hero arrived just in time to shield the civilians, catching the creature mid-leap. He swung it through the air and slammed it against a wall, the impact shattering concrete and glass alike. But as he fought, more appeared, emerging from shadows, rooftops, and alleyways, each one more grotesque than the last. They moved with terrifying coordination, as if guided by a single consciousness, a hive mind with a sinister purpose. Superman realized that brute strength alone would not stop this attack. Every creature he destroyed seemed to draw strength from the others, their monstrous forms twisting and adapting in response to his blows. Their eyes glowed with malevolence, and a chilling intelligence shone through their horrific features. These were not mindless invaders, they were hunters, predators, feeding on fear and chaos. As he battled through the streets, Superman noticed something worse, a shift in the shadows themselves. They began to move independently of the monsters, stretching across the walls, snaking along the ground, converging in ways that defied physics. A low, resonant hum filled the air, vibrating through the bones of every person in the city. The shadows were alive, not mere absence of light, but extensions of something far more terrifying, something enormous. Above him, the sky darkened further as the shadows began to coalesce. First a vague, shifting mass, then a form that grew more defined with every passing second. The monstrous shapes merged, folding into one another until they became a single, towering silhouette. Tentacles, claws, and twisted forms fused, glowing eyes piercing through the eerie light, surveying the streets below with predatory intent. Superman's eyes widened, his jaw tightening. This was no ordinary threat. It was the progenitor, the alpha predator, controlling the smaller monsters that swarmed the city. The air seemed to thicken, charged with a terrifying energy, and even his superhuman senses struggled against the oppressive weight of the alien presence. Civilians screamed as the giant shadow loomed over the city. Every street became a potential trap, every building a possible hiding place for death. Superman hovered, ready to defend, but he understood instinctively that this battle would not be won with fists alone. He needed to understand this horror, anticipate it, and prepare for the unimaginable. The moment stretched, tense and unbearable. The monstrous shadow shifted again, now clearly forming a shape that resembled colossal humanoid, but with alien distortions, multiple limbs, jagged protrusions, and an aura of malevolence that radiated from every inch. Its glowing eyes swept the city, locking onto Superman with an almost sentient awareness, and a chilling realization struck him. The creature was hunting, not attacking randomly. Cliffhanger. The shadows above merged completely into a giant alien horror, a monstrous form larger than any building, poised to hunt the citizens of Metropolis. Superman's cape flapped in the unnatural wind as he prepared to face the ultimate nightmare, knowing that the city's fate, and the survival of humanity itself, hung by a thread. The monster unleashed. Metropolis was falling apart. Streets lay cracked and scorched, cars overturned and burning, and shattered glass littered every avenue. The once bustling city hummed with life. Now it screamed in panic. Smoke and fire twisted upward, casting eerie shadows across the skyline, while the sickly green light from the sky flickered like a warning of doom. Sirens wailed relentlessly, but they were drowned out by screams, explosions, and the sounds of something monstrous moving through the streets. Superman hovered above, eyes scanning the chaos. He saw the first wave of alien monsters emerge, human-sized but grotesque, their elongated limbs and clawed fingers glinting in the green light. Each creature moved unnaturally, their contorted bodies twisting as they leapt between buildings and alleys, preying on terrified citizens. Their glowing eyes reflected malice, their jagged teeth promising death. He swooped down, moving faster than the eye could follow, intercepting the creature's mid-attack. One lunged at a trapped family in a collapsed car, claws snapping. Superman caught it in his arms, spinning and slamming it into the pavement. Concrete shattered under the impact, but the creature rose again, faster and more feral than before. For every monster he destroyed, two more seemed to take its place. The chaos was overwhelming. Civilians fled in every direction, cars screeching as monsters tore through the streets. Superman tried to shield them, forming a barrier of raw strength, but the creatures were coordinated. They weren't mindless, they adapted, learning his movements, countering his attacks with terrifying precision. Heat vision burned through one, but two others flanked him instantly. Their strategy was cruel, effective, and horrifyingly intelligent. Then, from the heart of the city, came a movement that made Superman's stomach tighten. Rising above the skyline was the first glimpse of the alien leader, a massive, tentacled figure with glowing, molten red eyes. Every motion of its limbs caused the ground to quake, sending smaller monsters scattering into the streets. Its presence radiated dominance, and even from above, Superman could feel the oppressive weight of intelligence and power radiating from it. Superman knew this was more than an invasion, this was hunting. The alien creatures were extensions of their master, each smaller monster feeding its intelligence, spreading fear and chaos, while the leader orchestrated the attack from above. Brute force alone would not suffice. To protect the city, he needed strategy, human allies, and quick thinking. He began coordinating with the remaining emergency responders, police, fire units, and a few functional drones. Helicopters circled overhead, illuminating streets with searchlights, while officers guided fleeing civilians into safer zones. Superman instructed them to create choke points, funneling smaller monsters into containment areas, giving him room to focus on the alien leader. Every second counted. The city could not afford mistakes. The alien leader reacted swiftly. Its massive tentacles lashed out, snaking through the streets, wrapping around sections of the city's power grid. Sparks flew, transformers exploded, and entire blocks went dark in an instant. Panic surged as lights flickered and died, leaving streets in total blackout. Citizens screamed, stumbling blindly through the smoke and shadows, while the alien creatures moved with frightening precision, exploiting the darkness. Superman dodged tentacle strikes and bursts of alien energy, moving between buildings with superhuman agility. He smashed generators, rerouted damaged power lines, and rescued trapped civilians, all while evading the leader's grasp. Sparks and debris rained down around him, creating a chaotic ballet of destruction. Each move had to be calculated. The alien leader was adapting in real time, its glowing eyes tracking his every action. Despite the danger, Superman managed to sever one of the leader's connections to the grid temporarily. Sparks surged, the tentacles writhed in anger, and a portion of the city lights flickered back to life. But the reprieve was brief. The alien leader's energy pulsed like a storm, coiling through the streets and buildings, a promise that the horror was far from over. Its intelligence and power were growing stronger by the minute, feeding on the fear and chaos it had unleashed. Cliffhanger, the alien leader's eyes locked on Superman, glowing brighter than ever. More tentacles extended, deeper into the city's core, threatening to plunge Metropolis into total blackout. Every second brought humanity closer to disaster, and Superman knew that to save the city, he would have to face the ultimate horror head-on. The horror deepens. The streets of Metropolis had transformed into a living nightmare. Fires burned unchecked, smoke twisted into unnatural shapes, and the cries of terrified civilians echoed through alleyways littered with rubble. Superman hovered above, his cape tattered, eyes glowing as he scanned the scene for the alien threat. The creatures had grown bolder, attacking with precision and ferocity, but now a darker, more insidious force revealed itself. Through careful investigation of the alien tech scattered across the city, pulsing energy nodes, glowing alien machinery, and strange floating crystals, Superman uncovered a horrifying truth. The aliens didn't just attack to conquer. They fed on fear and life energy. Every scream, every moment of terror, strengthened them. Every panic heartbeat of the citizens added power to the alien network, feeding the monstrous intelligence that controlled the smaller creatures. Superman's heart sank. This wasn't just an invasion, it was a psychological war, a predator hunting its prey through terror. The citizens weren't merely victims, they were power sources. And the longer the aliens were allowed to spread fear, the stronger their leader would become. As he scanned the streets, he saw the first signs of possession. Citizens, normally brave or simply fleeing, had twisted into something grotesque. Their eyes glowed faintly red, their movements jerky, inhuman. Some attacked others mindlessly, while others dragged themselves through the streets as if guided by unseen strings. Entire neighborhoods were now living nightmares, and Superman realized he could not simply focus on fighting the alien army. He had to protect the very people they fed upon. Yet this presented a moral dilemma that weighed heavily on him. Could he risk direct confrontation with the alien leader while civilians were still being manipulated and hunted? Every second he hesitated, the alien network grew stronger, siphoning energy from fear and chaos. But if he focused solely on the people, the alien leader would grow beyond control, and the city could be lost entirely. Superman had never faced a threat where compassion and strategy were so intricately entangled. In the midst of this crisis, Superman witnessed something extraordinary. Ordinary humans, police officers, firefighters, and brave civilians fought back despite their fear. Some managed to disable alien devices, others led citizens to safety, and a few even confronted the possessed, breaking their mental hold long enough for Superman to intervene. Humanity's courage, shining through the nightmare, gave him hope. Their acts of bravery were not just survival, they weakened the alien network, disrupting its flow of energy and giving him small tactical advantages. Using their courage as a shield, Superman devised a risky plan. He would simultaneously protect the civilians while striking at the alien network's energy nodes, severing its control over the possessed. Moving at blinding speed, he smashed through clusters of alien devices, rerouted energy currents, and freed pockets of civilians from the alien influence. Sparks flew, buildings shook, and the air was charged with alien energy. The city's pulse was chaotic, but Superman's presence provided a beacon of hope. Just as it seemed the network might be contained, a tremor ran through the city. The alien leader's energy surged violently, feeding off the residual fear and anger of the possessed. Shadows stretched and writhed, converging around the leader in the heart of the city. Superman looked up in horror. The creature had begun to evolve, its monstrous form twisting, expanding, and growing in complexity. Tentacles elongated, additional eyes appeared, and dark energy crackled across its body. The city seemed to quiver under its presence, as if the ground itself recognized the horror ascending above it. Superman's jaw tightened. The stakes had escalated beyond anything he had faced before. Not only was the alien leader growing stronger and more grotesque, but the very citizens he sought to protect were integral to its survival. Every moment of hesitation could cost lives and empower the enemy. Cliffhanger, the alien leader completed its transformation into the ultimate horror form, towering over the skyline with writhing appendages, pulsating energy, and glowing eyes that radiated malevolent intelligence. Metropolis trembled under its presence. Superman braced himself, knowing that the final confrontation was imminent, and that this nightmare was far from over. Humanity's lost hope. Metropolis was unrecognizable. Once proud skyscrapers lay in ruins, fires blazed unchecked, and ash fell like snow through smoke-choked streets. The city's heartbeat had slowed, replaced by chaos and fear. Yet amidst the devastation, a single figure hovered above, Superman. His cape tattered, eyes blazing with determination. He surveyed the battlefield, measuring the monstrous threat before him. The alien leader, fully evolved into its ultimate horror form, towered over the skyline. Tentacles writhed violently, eyes glowed like molten fire, and dark energy crackled across its grotesque, multi-limbed body. Every movement it made sent shockwaves through the streets, toppling buildings and sending panicked civilians fleeing. Its presence alone radiated pure terror, a malevolent intelligence that had fed on humanity's fear for far too long. Superman knew brute force alone would not suffice. He had learned through battle and observation that strategy and human ingenuity were as crucial as his own strength. He had coordinated with survivors throughout the city, engineers, emergency responders, and courageous civilians, each contributing in small but critical ways. Using their improvised devices, he amplified solar energy channels and redirected power surges, preparing to strike at the alien leader's core vulnerability. The confrontation began in a blaze of action. Tentacles lashed, tearing streets apart. Superman dodged with supersonic speed, deflecting energy blasts and debris. Buildings collapsed around him, yet he remained focused, calculating each move with precision. Civilians took shelter where they could, their courage shining in acts of resistance. One firefighter directed an emergency generator, another hacked an alien device, and children clutched each other in hope as Superman shielded them from harm. Superman gathered all remaining solar energy, sunlight streaming through gaps in the smoke-filled sky, coalescing into a blinding orb of raw power in his hands. The alien leader lunged, tentacles snapping, its eyes burning with rage and intelligence. The battle escalated into a storm of light and shadow, energy surging across the streets, and buildings trembling under the force of their clash. Using the combination of human ingenuity and his solar power, Superman executed a decisive strike. He redirected energy from human-made devices into the alien's core, overloading its systems while simultaneously striking with concentrated solar energy. Sparks and dark energy arcs collided, creating an explosion that illuminated the entire city in blinding brilliance. The alien leader screeched, a sound that shook every bone and echoed through the ruins, as its massive form began to collapse. Tentacles writhed once more before disintegrating, and the energy that had pulsed through the streets dissipated. For a moment, silence fell. Dust and smoke swirled through the devastated streets, punctuated only by the distant cries of survivors. Superman descended, landing amid the rubble. His body was battered, energy nearly depleted, but his spirit remained unbroken. Civilians emerged cautiously from hiding, eyes wide with awe and relief, witnessing the hero who had saved them from an unimaginable nightmare. Despite the destruction, humanity endured. Survivors began helping each other, salvaging what they could, and tending to the wounded. Superman moved through the streets, lifting debris, comforting those in shock, and ensuring no lingering threat remained. The alien horror was gone, but the scars it left on the city, and on the psyche of its people, would remain. As the sun broke through the smoke, casting golden light over the ruins, Superman looked toward the horizon. He knew this victory, though monumental, was not the end. A faint signal flickered in the sky, alien and deliberate, hinting at something far larger lurking in the cosmos. The universe remained vast and unpredictable, and new threats waited silently beyond the stars. Superman's gaze hardened, determination burning in his eyes. Earth had survived, but the war was far from over. Humanity had shown its courage, resilience, and ingenuity, proving that together they could withstand even the darkest horrors. Yet the whisper of greater challenges ahead reminded him that vigilance was eternal. Epilogue of post-credits tease. As survivors began rebuilding, a faint, pulsating signal appeared above the clouds, an ominous reminder that the universe held dangers beyond imagination. The alien threat had been defeated, but the shadows of space hinted at a new, mysterious challenge, one that would require courage, strength, and unity on an even greater scale. Superman watched, ready for whatever lay ahead, the hero who would rise whenever Earth needed him most.